What's going on, everybody? It is Brendan. Welcome back to Dad Planet. I just put my youngest daughter down for a nap, so we're gonna knock out a what sold video. This week, we're covering March 1st through the 7th. I'm gonna pick 15 bolos that I sold that week, some of the higher dollar amount sales, some of the lower cost of goods sales, in hopes that you guys can find similar items, some of the same items in thrift stores, estate sales, wherever it is you do your sourcing. But I have to tell you, and I'm gonna touch on this point very quickly here in the beginning, if your sales are slower, it really, in this instance, might not be your fault. I'm going to touch on something that eBay has just told their investors. We're going to talk about that here in just a second. But for now, let's get into the video. All right, so my total sales for March 1st through the 7th go as follows. Just under 2,500 in gross. Just over 1,600 in net, and then my selling cost at around 30% with an average sales price per item of $55. I'm like the model of consistency this year. Like, it hasn't been like astonishingly high, and it hasn't been egregiously low. So I'm staying consistent, and that's really all I can ask for, because the next thing I'm going to show you is a little bit of a concern, and I don't usually do like the drama angle at all. So this one is this one's a little bit crazy. So look at here, eBay's annual active buyers since the pandemic began. They're saying, and they're telling investors, like, it's going to be bleak for another couple of quarters. But look at the first quarter in 2021. They had 187 million active buyers. But in the fourth quarter, that dropped all the way to 147. That's a loss of 40 million active buyers. And it looks like, according to them, that trend is going down. That's a really scary thing to consider. So while I'm not trying to make everybody run for the hills, and especially if you're somebody that's new, or you only have 50 active listings, like, this really isn't going to affect you if you're in growth mode on eBay. But a loss of 40 million buyers is crazy. Those are really alarming numbers. Now, these kinds of things can ebb and flow, so it is what it is, but that's something to really pay attention to. If you're somebody like me that's got, 1,300 active listings, 1,300, and you're doing really consistently, and then all of a sudden something happens, this could be the reason why. So it might not be your fault. It might not be, I'm not promoting enough, or I'm not making, offers to watchers or any of those things. So it's just something to be aware of, and, keep grinding is what I always say. But yeah, that's pretty scary. Anyway, let's get into 15 bolos. You really never know what you're going to find when you source at the bins. So this was a bins find for me. These two speakers, they are Definitive Technology, the Pro Monitor 1000 set. But the front casings come off. They were in excellent condition, and I tested them, put video into my description. They worked perfect. They were a little bit heavy, right? Each one of them was like 4 or 5 pounds each. So I paid probably $15 to $20 for these, but I had them listed at $200, and I took an offer of $170. So this buyer is $198.25 all in after shipping and tax. And even at a max of $20 spend, I will take it. That's why I love going to the bins. It's kind of like you never know. All right, so shorts in general with spring and summer coming up is going to be in favor. And Speedo, Speedo shorts, they may or may not be a bolo, but I feel like the floral hibiscus pattern on a lot of shorts with a lot of brands will be a bolo, so it's going to be something that you're going to want to pay attention to. So Speedo hibiscus flower pair of shorts, pretty color. Full price for these, $20, and the buyer is $25.53 all in after shipping and tax. Because I found these at the bins as well, they may have been 50 to 75 cents. But I feel like Abercrombie shorts with the floral pattern and the hibiscus pattern, things you want to be on the lookout for in the coming months with spring and summer looming, so keep that in mind. All right, this brand is interesting because it's new to me, and if you guys saw my 5 Nights at Goodies video, you saw me source this pair and a white pair. I got full price for these, $75. This buyer is $100.29 all in after shipping and tax, and I believe they cost me $4.69. You have to go back into that video to check me, because sometimes I forget exact prices that I pay. But the marketing angle on these shoes is interesting. They tell you that you really never have to bend over again to put your shoe on, because that back of the shoe bends favorably. Like, it's built in a manner that if you constantly step on it, it won't like crinkle and crack over time. So you just put your heel into the bottom of the shoe and shove it in, and you never have to bend over to get the shoe on. So that's an interesting angle, and this is definitely a bolo. You want to keep your eye out for Zebra. Jet black was the color here. I also have a pair of white. They've got a little bit of like a pink stain on the interior of the shoes, and that might be why The white pair is taking a little bit longer for me to sell, but 75 bucks after 460, I'll take that any day of the week. So keep your eye out for this brand. All right, so I'm trying to do auctions a little bit more, and recently I bought a set of like 9 figures, and this owl was in one of them, but I bought them primarily for the Deborah Shock, Bethany Lowe Halloween figures, and there was a Valentine figure in there as well. So I paid $87 to $90 for the entire set. There were like 7 or 8 figures in the entire lot. So this was one of them. This was one of the lesser priced ones, the lower priced ones. All the other ones are kind of high dollar amount. But it sold for $30. So Rag & House, their Halloween, holiday, Christmas items, something that you do want to be on the lookout for. The reason I priced this at $30 is because I went into Terapeak and I saw a comp that was very, very similarly priced for this exact one. So I knew to put it at $30, and it sold relatively quickly. This was the first item that sold in that lot of figures, and I've more than tripled my money at this point with that lot. So that was a great auction purchase. But Rag & House, I'll put a picture on the screen of the logo at the bottom of this little owl so that if you're not familiar with it, you can familiarize yourself with it. But even just this brand here and these little like paper resin figures, they're a bolo. So you want to keep your eye out for them. They're very unassuming, and you know, it'd be very, very easy for a thrift store to price something like this at like $2 or $3 and you turn it into 30. So keep your eye out for these as well. These kind of surprised me, not only because I really didn't comp them when I was in the store, but with how fast they sold, I was like really pretty happy with this purchase. So I thought they were nice. Now the Cole Haan Nike Air collaboration in and of itself is a bolo sometimes. So Nike does some of the Cole Haan soles. So you want to keep your eye out for that, and you'll see that this has like the Nike Air pocket in it. But this thong sandal, patent silver leather, it sold really quickly, and there really aren't that many like amazing comps to go on, but now you've got one here. I just picked them up because I thought they looked great. We've got spring and summer coming up again, and they were in fantastic condition. So I was like thrilled to take 25 bucks. I paid $4.69 for these, and this buyer is $39.31 all in after shipping and tax. So if you see Nike, and if you see the Cole Haan Nike like collaboration on a shoe, maybe it'll be a dress shoe, like maybe it'll be something like this. Always run comps. Don't always make the assumption that it is a bolo. I just took a shot on this one and happened to get lucky, especially with how quickly they sold. So keep your eye out for the Cole Haan Nike Air collaboration more so than this style of shoe in general. All right, so this is a chrome, like 4-compartment dispenser from Lincoln Beautywear. And you know, it's got that old school chrome, like maybe mid-century modern feel and look to it. But Lincoln Beautywear is a bolo. The chrome canisters are things you want to look for. And you'll see a lot of the dispensers that will only have 3 compartments. I kind of got lucky because this one had 4, and it holds your paper towels, your saran wrap, and things of that nature. So I had to clean it up a little bit, but this sold relatively quickly for full price. I had it listed for $50, it sold for $50. This buyer is $83.48 all in after shipping and tax. This did go overseas, so they probably had to pay some customs fees there. It cost me $6.99, and it is the harder to find dispenser than the other ones because, again, mine has 4 compartments, and you'll see a lot of them that only have 3. But when you see those chrome canisters and dispensers, always look them up, especially if it is Lincoln Beautywear. Sometimes there might not be a stamp marked somewhere that's easy to find on the item. Just Google Lens it and then use your best guess if you don't see an actual stamp. But this is definitely it, so keep your eye out for this. All right, so long story short, this guy creates a roofing company, and he creates a mascot for the roofing company, which turns out to be a koala. Well, the kids around his business, for whatever reason, started to love it, and it snowballed from just being his mascot to now an entire group of mascots and koalas that do things like attend charity events, right, and raise money for things like autism and diabetes and things of that nature. So it's a really interesting transition, if you will, from this guy and running his roofing company to having Build-A-Bear create exclusively his mascots. So I found this guy at a Goodwill, and it was priced at $4.99. And this is Koala Ken from the Koala Times. I think they now have 4 or 5 different koalas in their repertoire of mascots, but it was a really interesting collaboration, and I think it's kind of a local thing. I think it started in the Cincinnati area. I'm in Ohio, for those of you that did not already know that. So yeah, I priced it at $40 and it sold for full price pretty quickly. So the buyer is $53.33 all in after shipping and tax. Again, cost me $5. I have now since seen 3 or 4 of these listed, and then a couple have already also sold. So there is some comparable data to go on. And you really do want to look for some of the other ones, because Build-A-Bear, I believe, did some of the other koalas. I don't know if they created all of the characters that this company has created, but really keep your eye out for the Koala Times Build-A-Bears, because they're really hard to find and you're probably going to make good money if you find one. All right, Burberry should come as no surprise to anybody. That is a Bolo brand for sure. But I found these at the bins as well. So they were very light. It's Burberry Brit Kensington, and you know, it's going to be a case-by-case basis, because the Kensington style, I think Burberry creates coats. They also have pants. They may even have tops. So you don't really know, but I didn't even comp this when I found it, because the pants were relatively light. It's a slim fit style, and I had them marked $40 and I took an offer of $34. So this buyer is $50.55 all in after shipping and tax. Let's call it $1.50 to $2 because it came from the bins. They were clean, so I didn't really have to do much to them. Photograph them, and on the interior of the pant, if you fold it over, you can see like the signature Novacek pattern on the inside seam. So if you're somebody's rolling their pants up, they would show at the bottoms. So 100% authentic, really great find. And again, you just never know what you're gonna find at the bins. This brand is interesting. So this is Physics. This is a beer dispenser. And so I believe how it works is you just stick a can or a bottle in it and it turns it into like a nitro brew of some sort. I don't know exactly how it works. It's like USB port enabled, and I'm not a huge beer drinker, so I don't really know the logistics of it. But it's an interesting marketing angle and an interesting marketing hook, and these things sell really well. This is probably the second or third that I've sold in the last probably 24 months. So if you see these in stores and the price is right, grab them, because it's an easy bolo to sell. So I sold this for $30 and the buyer is $43.54 all in after shipping and tax. It cost me $6.99, but this is definitely a bolo. These will sell great new, they will sell great pre-owned, and they're relatively easy to ship, they're light, so keep that in mind and look for this. This set of plates was also in the 5 Nights at Goodies video, and these sold really quickly. So Theodore Haviland Limages plates, a set of 11. There were 12, but one of them was cracked, so I left that one behind. But somebody made an offer like almost immediately upon me listing them, and I took it. 150 bucks. These could be worth twice, 3 times that. I'm not huge into China and plateware, so this could have been an accident, but it's still a happy accident because it only cost me $1 per plate. So it was $11, and I'll take the 150. If it's a lesson learned, it's a lesson learned. I'll make sure to mark it up next time. But this buyer is $182.69 all in after shipping and tax. These went to Florida. That was a fantastic night on a really strange ending to the 5 nights that I did source at that location. Of course, there was a happy ending for those of you that were following me and following the dresser caper. That's all been settled. So this was a great set of 11 plates. I don't sell this stuff that often, so I'm happy to show it to you, and hopefully you can find something similar. All right, another bins find. This may be 5 cents, 10 cents, because it is just a minifigure chrome helmet from a stormtrooper. And it comes from a pretty rare stormtrooper. This was a trooper that only came in bag form, and I don't know exactly how Lego released it, but I don't think it was a regular release. So that bagged stormtrooper, it's gonna probably get you over $100, but I was lucky enough to get 34 for this one. So I had it priced at 40. I took an offer of 34. This buyer is 41.17 all in after shipping and tax. My oldest daughter was the one that found this helmet. Yes, we did look for the stormtrooper figure. It's quite possible that somebody may have already sourced that while they were there at that same trip. But again, I mean, imagine, you know, you only spend $34 at the bins, and this one little teeny tiny helmet paid for the entire trip. So that was a great find, a very rare find, but you know, Lego's a no-brainer, especially when you're at the bins. Always look for it, and always look for them, especially if you can grab a bunch in bulk. Okay, Allbirds. This is probably the 3rd pair that I've sold. Now I had these priced pretty aggressively. They sold for $27. They had some discoloration on the uppers on both shoes, and so I wasn't really comfortable like pricing these at a premium or close to a premium, so I thought my price at $27 was fair. They did sell for that price. This buyer is $37.69 all in after shipping and tax. These are tree runners. They were like a periwinkle blue color, so not one of the more common colors. I think navy is more common for Allbirds, and somebody had mentioned the fact that they thought this was a Vero. That's been cleared up now. I think the brand even reached out and said, no, there's been some misunderstanding of some sort. It's okay. I don't remember exactly what the details are, but I think there was a rumor floating around that Allbirds was like a serious Vero, and as I understand it, they are not. So I think you can list these comfortably and not have to worry about something like that. So keep that in mind. It is an emerging brand. There are only, I think there's still under 2,000 active listings for this brand. So keep your eye out for it. They're very unassuming and they're selling well. So this is one of those great bolos. All right, Yankee Candles, you know, this one sat for a little while, but you know, it's beach season, so it makes perfect sense that this finally did sell. I don't remember exactly what I paid for it. I wrote down $4.99, and that's usually when I'm sourcing at, you know, a lot of the specific locations around me. It seems to be the going rate for the 22-ounce candles, $4.99, $5.99. So this did sell for full price. It is Beach Holiday. It was a 22-ouncer, brand new. And the buyer is $54.75 all in after shipping and tax. There are some Yankee Candles. No, it is not a fluke that will get you an absolute ton of money. So always be on the lookout for the brand new ones for sure. With the pre-owned ones, I guess it kind of depends on how much use it has gotten. So you have to be careful when you're sourcing the pre-owned ones. But if it's brand new, make sure you run comps on it because you'll be pleasantly surprised a lot of the time. So it's one of the weirder things I've sourced in my life. I don't know why there's a Jerry Garcia Cincinnati Reds collaboration, but I also don't care because the comparable said, pick this thing up and price it high. So I did both, and this eventually did sell for full price. I got 90 bucks for it. The buyer is $99.44 all in after shipping and tax. It makes perfect sense because baseball season is coming up, and I did feature this in one of my thrift run videos. I can't remember what I paid for it. I wrote down $8.99, but it might have been less than that. But even still, $9 to get 90 is a return I'm never, ever going to turn down. Neither should you. This is probably going to be one of those items that's harder to find, but there are certain bobbleheads now, and this is probably the second or the third one that I've sold for around the $90 to $100 mark, if I remember correctly, that I always end up looking them up now just as a matter of habit because I've been pleasantly surprised a lot of the time. And you know, the sports trading market, the sports memorabilia market is still very hot right now. So this checked all of the boxes. So keep your eye out for bobbleheads, keep your eye out for sports memorabilia. And you know, it's a Grateful Dead item too. So keep your eye out for that. All right. And then the last one, like I was unaware until I sourced this doll that you could have a custom American Girl doll made. So this is a one-of-a-kind OOAK custom doll that is not one of the ones that's featured like in mass production in stores for American Girl. So it took me a little while to sell, but I bought it on Facebook Marketplace for $30 and I took an offer of $127.49. So this buyer is $154.19 all in after shipping and tax. And yeah, who knew? I mean, I didn't know that you could customize an American Girl doll. I would imagine that it's pretty expensive to do so. So even at $128, this probably still looked like a deal for this person, and I'm happy it's in their hands. There's 15 more in the books. I hope you enjoyed all those. All right, a couple of friendly reminders to hit that like button if you liked what you saw or you learned something today, and then consider becoming a member of the Dad Planet family by hitting the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so that you know every time an upload hits YouTube. That's all I have for you. Brendan here, Dad Planet. Thank you so much for tuning in as always, and we will catch you in the next video.